Hey guys, I'm with Deborah Knight today. How you doing, Deborah?
I'm doing great. Fabulous. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. It's the day after Christmas, Boxing Day. So thank you for taking the time. I know this week kind of everyone's off. It's weird, but us too, we're still working. You know, we
Yes.
we don't really take days off. Kind of do, but not really.
Yeah, I think it's my life. It's everything I sleep, dream, and eat about is energy. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, you never sleep.
No, I feel that way, and it's something that really only like entrepreneurs who are passionate about what they do, only they can relate to that. And it's like if you tell that to your non-entrepreneur friends, they're like, "What? Like you know, work is the totally different thing."
Yeah, yeah. They don't get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you explain a little bit about what you do and what you're working on?
Sure. So I am basically the master of manifestation, and I teach people how to manifest in their own lives through energy and tapping into their own energy source, their own energy field, through vision, which we talked about, and clarity of that vision,
Mm,
and then how they use their thoughts. And really, it's choice. It comes down to choice. You can choose where your thoughts are going to go and what emotion is going to come up.
mm.
So your emotions, it's thoughts create the emotion creates the vibe creates your reality.
Right.
So
You were telling me about that kind of framework
yeah,
last time, like about how there's like thought, emotion, vibration, and reality. And I want
yes,
you to go deeper into like what are those four things? If there's something I'm missing, let me know as well. But
sure.
basically, what is that framework of thought, emotion, vibration, reality? What is an emotion? What is a thought? What is a vibration? And what is
Sure, sure. So first, we all have a thought, right? We all have thoughts. I mean, how many tens of thousands of thoughts per day? And when we have those thoughts, an emotion will come up because it triggers us.
mm,
Whether it's from our past, from society, from our teachers, friends, coworkers, lovers, family. And so those emotions come up. And I think we can all relate to this, when you have an emotion come up, you go into this vibe. You create a vibe. Like when you walk into a room, we can all feel the vibe before we get there, right?
right, right.
If somebody's angry, if they're happy, if they're sad. And that's the vibe you're creating. It's the vibration you're putting out into the universe.
Mm,
I use vibe because everyone can relate to that. Not everyone relates to vibration of an
right.
emotion.
And the vibe is like kind of colloquial, and I like that. But
Yeah.
from what I hear is emotion is kind of internal, and then vibration is a little bit external. It's like
Yes.
it's like what you're giving off of the whole room.
Right. So it's an energy. So when you have your emotion, there is actually a vibrational scale of emotions. And I think we can all agree that shame, guilt, sorrow, anger, jealousy, those are all really low vibrations,
Mm,
low vibe emotions. We kind of like hunch over. Fear, we go like this. When
ah,
it's joy and love, we're like expanded and joyful. And you can see it in somebody before you even know how they're feeling. They portray it in their personal,
right.
their space, everything. And so the vibration is literally, it's the vibration of how fast the energy is moving.
Mm,
And that vibration will connect you and tap you into the right frequency. So the energetic frequency of the universe, and the energetic frequency of the universe, it's like, I'll use radio stations because everyone can relate to that. So country music is on one frequency, right?
right.
And then you have rock on another. You're not going to tune into the frequency of rock to try to get
Uh,
country.
okay.
There's it's a law. That's where they land. That's where they live, those stations.
Okay. Right. So what I'm a little confused about is how do frequency and vibration relate? So it's
Right.
like
Yeah.
vibrations are
Yeah,
the
so the energy, matter,
okay.
your desk, this glass of water, it's all vibration. Energy vibrates. We remember that from like science class in high
Right.
school, that
Right.
everything has a vibration to it. Some things vibrate at a lower speed.
Mm.
Other things vibrate at a higher speed.
Oh,
And
okay.
so that's the difference. That's the only
So
difference.
frequency is just how you measure vibration.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, it's a little confusing. All you have to know is that your emotions create the vibration. So when it's fear, um, shame, those are really low. So they're going to
Right.
vibrate very low. And then joy vibrates higher. So what it does is it taps you. It's almost like the dial. So it's like your hand reaching out and turning the dial to the right frequency. You have to be able to vibrate at a
Mm,
certain level to get to the higher frequencies.
right. And then
Does
what
that
does
make sense?
that definitely clears it up a lot.
Okay.
And then what does frequency, I mean, what does being at a higher frequency do for you? So what does
Ah,
it like to live at a lower frequency, and then what is it like to live at a higher frequency?
yes. So I think we can all know people who live at a higher frequency. Things
Mhm.
just magically come to them. They're happy all the time. They're full of joy. So and I have this thing that I use with my clients, that we attract the level of love that we love ourselves.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
So we attract the reality that we put out ourselves. So like abundance, joy, gratitude are all really high vibrations.
Mhm.
So if you want more of that in your life, you've got to tap into those higher frequencies.
Mm.
When you put out shame, guilt, fear, jealousy, guess what? You're going to ricochet back, because it's a law. The universe has to do that. If you're tuned into that frequency, you're not going to send out, anger and fear and expect to get love back.
Right.
It's a
Right.
totally different, it's like tuning into rock and roll and expecting to get country.
So what happens is if you're in the frequency of anger, that's what you'll get back at you.
Yeah, you'll get more experiences that will create more of that emotion for you.
Mm.
So whether it's traffic, it's pretty amazing. I think about it this way, and maybe you can. I think we can all relate to this. When we're worried about money,
Yes.
right? It seems that we get more bills in the mail, we'll get a flat tire.
Uh,
Just things will happen that will make us need to spend more money when we're so worried about not having enough money.
yes.
Uh,
Yeah. And then it ends up being like you're in a scarcity mindset
yeah,
about money. Um,
yes. So that's fear,
okay.
worry, low emotions,
Mm.
low vibrations.
So what then is if we were to really simplify the spectrum of frequencies,
Yeah.
what is at the top level, the highest level, and then what is at the bottom, this level?
I would say, well, fear, shame and guilt are the lowest.
Okay.
The majority of people are about 270. Love is at 500, the frequency of 500.
Interesting. So
The
there's a number.
high, yeah, we as a, think about that. Well, I mean, just look outside, look at the news,
Yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah, for sure.
When if you are anybody that watches the news all the time, you're going to vibrate at a lower vibration.
Mm,
I
mm.
mean,
Yeah,
it's
especially
just,
if it's just like snippets of the news. I think that if you like sit down and like read a book about what's going on in the world, you
yeah,
might have like a better understanding of like the whole picture. But if
yeah.
it's just like little snippets of like some channel, you just get really fragmented views of everything.
Right. Yeah, I haven't watched the news, and I haven't watched TV in like 7 years.
Oh wow, no TV at all.
No
No
TV.
Netflix.
I'll watch a movie once in a while.
Yeah.
I would say maybe 3 a year.
Oh wow,
I
yeah,
don't. I put it this way: you are what you consume.
very true.
So I was really wanting to change my whole frequency, and in order to do that, I had to delete all the negative in my life.
Mm,
And once I started to do that, I don't live there anymore.
yeah,
Um,
that makes sense. It's like you have to eliminate kind of anything that has a lower frequency,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
replace it with things that have a higher frequency.
right. Food as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
that's a whole other topic, though.
Yeah. um, so the normal person, I'm guessing that they're not
Mm.
in guilt or shame for the most part, but
It's a yeah, it's like this. So I mean, we're human, right?
right.
We're constantly going up and down. But the more consistently you can stay, and gratitude is one of the easiest ways to be there. Gratitude, just being grateful for the glass of water.
Mm,
I'm so
I love
grateful for
water.
this. That will raise my vibration.
Yes.
And so gratitude is one of the easiest way, because no matter where you are in your life and no matter how desolate you feel, you can find something to be grateful for.
Definitely, definitely.
Anybody can. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
care who you are.
yeah.
Um,
I do a gratitude journaling practice, and
yeah.
I force myself to come up with 5 things that I'm grateful for.
Every
And
day.
not every day. I actually do it once a week. because
Oh.
every day was a little too, like, it was getting to be too much on me because I have all these other habits that I was doing.
Yeah.
So 1 a week has been fine enough for now.
Yeah.
I might increase that later.
Well, 5
But
is a lot to do.
5 things to be grateful for.
That's a
Yeah,
lot.
I mean, yeah, it kind of makes up for, like, I think about the whole week
Right.
and then kind of what I'm grateful for. And yeah, there's unlimited things to think about. I
Yeah.
can, from anything from my family to food to, like, having options to go out in the city or something like that.
Right.
It's
Right.
a lot of different things
Yeah.
to be grateful for.
Yeah. So
Um,
gratitude is one of the higher, easiest vibrations to get into.
mm,
And it helps us. So when you're spiraling down in your thoughts to fear, anger, um, shame, the first, once you're aware of this cycle and how it actually happens, then you become more aware of, oh, I'm getting sucked down into those negative emotions. I need to, cycle back up, and being in gratitude is the easiest way to do that, to
nice,
really quickly change your vibe.
nice. Yeah, that's a good. I think that's a good tip and a good, like, kind of way to approach your life is, like, cultivate gratitude.
Yeah.
You said 270 is the frequency that people are usually at. What
Yeah.
emotion does that correlate to?
Oh, I should have had my,
Yeah,
maybe I'll share it with you.
I can include it in the post.
Okay. Yeah, I'll share that. It's around fear, I can't quite remember exactly where it's at, but we live in fear,
Mm,
as a
yeah,
society,
yeah,
afraid of everything.
like kind of subtle fear. Yeah, totally.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and how does that commonly manifest? Like let's say in your client's life,
Hmm.
how does the fear kind
Well,
of show up?
fear of being alone. So guess what? They're going to be alone until we
Mm.
change that. Fear of being fired from their job. They get fired from their job.
Oh wow! So whatever
Yeah.
your fear is, it ends up happening.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff. And then once you really tap into letting people become more aware of it, they can look back in their life and see it.
Wow.
But yeah, those are the two biggest ones: is employment, career,
Nice.
and relationship.
So let's say someone does have a fear, how to, like, they're afraid of, like, being alone. How do you how do you overcome that fear?
The easiest way is well, the only way I know how is the fear of being alone is to really fall in love with who you are.
Mm,
And that's the basis of all of this really working well in your life. Because if you live in fear, you're afraid of something, right? You're afraid of something not happening, not getting something. You live in lack a lot of times.
right.
When you really are in love with who you are, and in love with who you are doesn't mean you love all the aspects of you. It means that you're accepting all the aspects of you.
Mm,
You accept the faults. You expect the deep, dark sides of you, because we all have them. But when you accept them, then you can love them and know that you're working on them. So
right.
it's different than, you hear this, you have to be totally in love with yourself to love another. That's not true, because I don't think any human truly is absolutely in love with every aspect of who they are. So it's been a misconception.
Yeah, it's
Um,
more about accepting things.
yeah, accepting is the better word.
I like that. I think that's
Yeah,
really true, spot on advice too. It's like the more comfortable you are with yourself, the less fear you have of being alone.
yeah, yeah.
I like that a lot.
And then, and not only that, when, so for a lot of women, I don't know if as much men do this, but women go on a first date and they're already in their mind going, is he the one? Is he the one? Is he the
Oh
one?
man, that's so
And
much
it's just like, oh my
fun.
God. You stop doing that,
Yeah.
because you're not living in that lack mentality.
Because you don't need it. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice maybe if your
Yeah.
relationship worked out, but at the end of the day, like, you're comfortable with who you are, comfortable with your life, and you don't really need anything to work out.
You need nothing outside of yourself.
Right, which is a
Nothing.
great place to be
Yes,
in.
it's a very empowering place to be, because then you become the chooser. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a very empowering way. It's just like, you don't settle for, relationships or jobs or opportunities that are not in alignment with your true highest self.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah,
as the more you do that, the more opportunities and relationships that are in alignment with your highest self show up.
right. Yeah, I mean, I witness it all the time. Like, if I look at a lot of my friends' lives,
Mhm.
like, it's like the number one problem that they struggle with is like this not showing up in a certain place, not being in alignment with what they're doing, something
Right.
like that. And it's kind of
Right.
rooted in fear,
Yeah.
but something is like holding them back from taking a plunge into like what they really want.
Right. Right. And that's that lack mentality,
Right.
because they don't know. And I think, going back to loving and accepting yourself is knowing yourself.
Mm,
You
definitely.
know,
Yeah.
that's the first work I do with people, is getting to know who they are.
Mm,
Because we're told
that makes
you
sense.
should do this, you should do that. Are you really being somebody your parents wanted you to be and not you?
Right. The first step is definitely like self-awareness, like
Yeah.
insight, discovery.
Yeah.
Um, I know for men, like, or
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe women relate to this as well, but I think that a lot of my male friends, like, the problem emotionally is like, it's not feeling up or down. It's just feeling like neutral.
Oh
And I'm
yeah.
wondering what vibration that is, like this kind of like neutrality,
Yeah.
I guess, masculine feel of not feeling really bad, but not feeling really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Complacent.
Yeah, maybe it has to do with complacency, but I'm
Mhm.
like wondering on the spectrum, like, is that
That's a
above?
lower vibration.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely can see that.
Yeah.
Um,
So then you have to think of the things. So one of the tools that I give people is, okay, you have to think of something that brings you immense joy.
right.
Immense joy. And whether it's singing, dancing, running, biking, whatever that is for you. And when you're feeling yourself in any of those places, it's to go there. And the important thing is to feel it in a visceral level, like through your core, not
Right.
just thinking about it, but you've got to embody that
Yeah,
feeling.
definitely. I like how you said immense joy because it's hard to really get at what that means, but
Yeah.
I totally know what you mean. It's like
Yeah.
not just anything, but something that really really feels like this is really
Like, yay!
yes, exactly.
Right?
I do think though people try to like select what they like love or like what they're passionate about off of like a list, and it ends up harming them because really, in my opinion, for how it's worked for me, it's like passion you it's something you build, and it may not be there from day one, but as you like kind of go deeper into whatever you're doing, and you get better and better at it, let's say it's dancing, you become more and more passionate about it and more excited about it as you get better and as you kind of immerse yourself in it more.
Confidence, right?
Yeah, confidence,
Confidence.
exactly.
Yeah.
um,
Um, yeah. And then you said something about finding the things you're passionate about, and getting into that immense joy. A lot of people don't know what that feels like.
mm,
Like they've never experienced immense joy in their life. And I had a hard time with that in the beginning. And it was just because I was always in the negative spiral. And so I literally had to go back to when I was a child and use my imagination and imagine what brought me immense joy.
wow.
And that's how I started. Um,
Why do you think it's so? Why do you think that people don't experience immense joy? It's kind of sad.
it is sad. I think because they're stuck in a negative spiral, they're stuck in a negative thinking,
Yeah.
and not in gratitude. Because if you're stuck in that negative, let's say something happens to you, and then you start to feel that victim mode of woe is me. I think that is really one of the traps a lot of people get in, because somebody hurt them,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then they think that that's why. Oh,
That's,
it's because of this. That's why I can't succeed.
that makes sense. And does it also have to do with like um, societal like systems and like education system or?
Yeah, we could get into that. The whole education system, I mean, in our country, it does not teach us how to use our own thoughts. It teaches us how to stay in a box
Yeah. Totally.
and don't think out of the box, or you're not going to fit in. Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, I would love to talk to you about that one as well because I have, my own personal story went from me going from a traditional college to going to a college where I was allowed to create my own major and kind of be self-directed. And
Yeah,
that kind of made all the difference for me in terms of what I wanted. And I only
yeah,
discovered that path through working with a life coach myself. So
yeah,
this kind of comes full circle in terms of why I'm doing the work that I'm doing.
yeah.
Um, it's
Well,
because
I see something really big here, by the way,
oh, okay. What do you mean?
because our system needs to be revamped.
Oh, totally,
Yeah.
totally. I mean, just in terms of more creativity, in terms of more
Yeah.
responding to more holistic kind of self-development.
Mhm.
and instead of just kind of teaching to tests and
The test.
whatever.
I love that about you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Um,
wonderful that you've experienced that.
oh yeah, definitely. Like that was the most frustrating thing for me at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
But so that's part of it. So that's
mhm.
part of it. You know, we get boxed in at a really young age and not allowed to create. Um,
I feel like they did it well, like maybe through elementary school.
oh
But then
God,
there's
from
like
the beginning. Yeah.
yes. Well, there's an age where you just stop using like kind of creative thinking pattern, or like it just becomes more about the test than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe in preschool it was okay.
Well, at the age of it's now 7 scientifically that this veil goes over your. I mean, I call it a veil over your subconscious mind. And so when when you're really little, you have no fear, you have no worry. You just get out there and you do, and you create and you be, right,
Right.
and everything is exciting. And then you get told, by society and our
Yeah.
families, and our families don't mean it. Just be clear on this: our families do not mean it to punish us or to limit us. It's just how we've been, society has been doing this forever.
Right.
But at the age of 7, that is covered over.
Mm,
And all of those things that you learned and were told and pushed down and hide, they're in your subconscious mind.
definitely. And in a way, you have to learn the rules of society to like navigate through it as an adult.
Right.
But then we end up losing kind of that magic.
The magic
Um,
of manifestation. That's my program.
exactly. If you can explain a little bit about your program and how to like get in touch with you to join it,
Sure, sure.
that'd be great.
Sure. It is the magic of manifestation, and it literally goes over all the energy pieces. I incorporate energy work in there for people who may have trouble with the emotional triggers that are keeping them down and, kind of sabotaging their own success. So I use EFT, or tapping, as you may know it, to really, it has been amazing in my life and in my clients' lives.
Right.
And it's like instantaneous.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it gets rid of the blocks.
I've heard great things about that.
Yeah, you should try it.
Yeah.
Not that you need to, but
yeah. I'll try it.
so we do that. We do a lot of, it's a lot, the basis. So the magic of manifestation is basically the basic foundation
Mm,
and from that you can go out and do, because you'll have the basics, you'll have the knowledge, you'll have the tools, because I want everybody to have a toolbox so
right.
that I mean, my job as a coach is to get you through this as quickly as possible so that you no longer need me.
Right.
And that's
That's a good way to think about it.
yeah. So I mean, that's my job. And to tell you the truth, I mean, I lived in lack mentality. I lived in that because of bad relationships and just trauma that happened as a child. So I not only have read about it, seminars, workshops, but I've lived it, and
Mm,
I've put these practices into play in my own life, which is why I'm so passionate about it, because I know it works
yeah.
and I can help anyone through that.
Yeah. You know where you're coming from. You know where your clients are coming from. You know you can
Yeah,
help them because you went through it.
yeah, yeah. And I'm
Awesome.
happy.
Yes.
And I was one of those people who had a hard time finding the joy.
Mm,
And now I live it every day.
that's great to hear. Great
Yeah.
success story from you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. Let's do another one soon. We can talk about education system,
Yeah.
whatever,
We need to
whatever it is.
talk more.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and have a great rest of the break and
Thank you.
new year.